This Midwestern Vanilla podcast is brought to you by Audible. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled. Get your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. They've got over 180,000 titles to choose from, so you're not going to have any trouble finding one, even if you only like reading the same thing all the time. I can relate. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Jumbled, your favorite podcast about nothing. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jonny.
Hey, Jonny. What's up, bud?
Oh, just ran home from work. Stuffed
you
my face
literally
hole.
run? Were you like Forrest Gump?
No, I drove home. Somewhat like a madman.
Yeah.
Didn't want to keep you waiting,
You're like cutting people off in traffic and
Get
like
the fuck out of my way.
people flipping you the bird. You're like, I gotta get home, get on a Skype call. It's important for a
man,
podcast.
I got a podcast. And my boy Zach with the heavy K is waiting for me.
You motherfucker. You know that gets on my nerves.
I know, that's why I do it.
Why do you do that? Why do you want to do that to me?
Because I get the tiniest little rise out of you, and I love it.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to respond anymore.
Well, then I'll probably stop doing it because I only do it to get a rise out of you.
Okay.
So I'm having this really weird OCD moment right now, and you're going to laugh. Have I told you about the dick table?
No, but I feel like I need to hear this.
Okay, so like 6 years ago, it was my buddy Matt's one of his 3 bachelor parties because he was a groomzilla.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. I said 3. He had 3, literally. All of which I had to travel for. Thanks, Matt. Cockass.
Cockass.
And we wanted to get a beer pong table. We didn't really have a beer pong table. We were going to make one, and like it was a big thing. And I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to go. I'm going to buy one of those plastic folding tables. And it will work. It's not great, but it'll work.
Right.
So I did that. And it was a pretty good call. And I was like, you know what? Let's get a bunch of Sharpies, and then people can sign it and draw on it and do whatever they want on it.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, because all my friends are mature, especially at that point in life, there's a lot of dicks on this table. Well, this table has become the dick table or the beer pong table, and I've carried it around with me to several parties when I used to party, granted, years ago. And everywhere I'd go, I'd bring Sharpies, and people would sign it. They would, it's kind of a story, a history of, there's some beer pong tournament stats on it.
Nice.
There's some really questionable portraits of people. A lot of penises and some weird sexual scenes that are going on.
Sure.
Anyway, so I've had this table for a long time. And when I set it up, Frozen Tundra Studio C in the basement, I needed a table. And I was like, well, time to bust out the old dick table. So I've been using it down here for a while, and then this past weekend we had Friendsgiving, and we had a bunch of people over, and we needed some more table space, so I thought, okay, well, I'll bust out the old dick table. So I dismantled my computer and everything and left it on the ground, and then dragged this table upstairs, and Al was like, no, we're not using that table. And I was like, we'll put a tablecloth over it. No one's going to see all the dicks. Plus, everyone who's coming has drawn a dick on this table.
Right.
Like, what's the big deal? That didn't fly, so then I had to put together a different table that was in storage. But what I'm trying to say with my OCD moment is I set up the dick table in a panic, getting ready for the podcast today, and I put it upside down or backwards, however you want to look at it. So now I feel discombobulated on my table because I'm looking at fresh images in front of me.
Oh, you've switched it up a little bit.
Yeah,
So what used to be the back is now the front.
Yeah, and now I feel it's weird, but I am starting to see a bunch of other random little drawings that I didn't notice before. So I guess there's some pros to that.
Yeah, the dick table, dude. That's hilarious.
The old dick table.
It's like, did your friends ever like ask specifically for you to bring the dick table? Was there?
Oh yeah. It came to every party we had. I'm just gonna text you a couple of pictures so you can see specifically what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Some
snap a few. We'll
the vulgarity. No, we're definitely not going over them in the podcast.
No. Okay.
One, I don't want to share it. Two, some of them are not appropriate.
We have an explicit tag on this podcast.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I should say some of them I just don't want people knowing that this is on one of my tables.
Fair.
Did you know that in Snapchat you have a gray beard?
I do?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Somebody must have changed me or something, maybe?
Maybe.
I don't know, dude, because it's...
Or I'm sending it to some other Zach.
No, you sent it to me.
Oh, okay.
Because I just, Okay. Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Nobody's understanding what I'm looking at right now, but let me tell you, it is
it's not appropriate.
There are a lot of dicks. I think one of them is specifically modeled after you.
Well, soft, yes. It's actually a tracing of my genitalia.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you just flopped it on the table, and it's sort of like how, I don't know if you guys did this for like Canadian Thanksgiving or whatever, but when we were kids, you'd draw your hand, and then you'd have the thumb be the turkey's head, and then the feathers were all your other fingers.
Yeah.
It's sort of like you did that with your dick on the dick table.
Exactly. Exactly.
Perfect, dude.
Moral of the story is dick tables aren't appropriate for Friendsgiving.
Whatever. I feel like if it was like a family Thanksgiving, then sure.
I'm pretty sure my mom has seen this table because for a little while it was actually sitting in their basement. Oh,
was it really?
We sprung a leak.
Oh shit, Johnny's Johnny.
I'm always bleeding from somewhere, man.
If you're not bleeding from an ear, if you're not pulling blood out of an ear, you're pulling it out of your nose, dude.
I had a rough go yesterday.
Oh, is it not calming down?
It was good for a while, and then yesterday I kind of got messed up. And now apparently I did get kneed in the nose yesterday too, and I thought I was okay. And then now, of course, I don't get a nosebleed until we start recording.
Yeah, a late onset nosebleed. You got a little bit in your stash. Just a little stain.
Jesus, stop. Well, I was like, man, my nose is running crazy. I know I'm a little sick, but it doesn't usually run out of this nostril.
That's funny. Yeah, it's really warm. What's happening?
And delicious. There we go. We'll just
Johnny, if you, I know you can't talk about it, but if you're in a fight club, blink 3 times.
I mean, technically yes, technically no. Ooh, that's a lot of blood.
That is a lot of blood.
I mean, I do fight multiple times a week. Training, anyways.
I know you can't, but you're breaking the rule talking about it, right?
Well, I'll get paid. I'll pay for it later with more nosebleeds and cauliflower ear.
Jesus Christ, man! You better
it's
gather
not
those
stopping.
up. You know what? The Red Cross would actually use that, dude.
Holy
Save
crap.
it up. You can ring it out, dude. Ring it out for the Red Cross.
Oh man, I almost sent a picture of my my ear blood yesterday on Snap because I found this weird little well and it just came pouring out.
Oh no.
All right, we're just gonna shove it up in there as far as I can go.
Yeah, I've done that before too.
Oh, what a podcast, eh? Let's talk about my dick table and then let's describe me getting a nosebleed on air.
Yeah, a lot of visual things that you guys have not seen but have heard all of. And now you get to hear Johnny's voice as he has one nostril clogged up. You know what? That's this podcast, man. I make no apologies for this podcast.
That's true. I was thinking about it the other day and excuse me. It's like sometimes I feel bad because we just ramble, and well, one, we're growing, so that's good. Two,
yeah,
it's not like we don't hide that. We don't say we put together a quality podcast. We just kind of go, and that's quality in our opinion, and a bunch of other people too. So
I have a feeling like even if we got big, that we would still
bigger, you mean?
Well, no, like
let's use proper adjectives here.
Well, okay. If we got massive, let me say that.
Okay, when we get to Joe Rogan status,
right? If we got up to that level, I have a feeling we would still be doing the same sort of podcast.
There's no other way
with more hosts or with more guests, but
or different guests, yeah,
or different guests.
But I would like to do some more interviews. Actually, I miss doing interviews. Who can we interview?
We never followed back up with Larry, so we can get him on. I think probably at any point, but it would be good. It'd be good to get some other people too.
Oh God, it won't. I made it worse. I'm sorry, friends. I don't want to start recording again. I'm just bleeding everywhere.
This feels like an SNL sketch or like like a progressively worse and worse nosebleed.
Yep, to the point where my whole room will be filled with blood and I'll almost be drowning in it.
Yeah, absolutely. All
right, I think we got it under control.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I think even if we got up to the point where we were as big as like the big podcast, we would still have the same sort of podcast, and like whoever our producer is or edits our podcast or whatever,
just be shaking their head the entire time.
Well, but they would have the easiest job because it'd be so much of not cutting anything out. Like I literally do not remove anything from the middles. I trim up the ends. Sometimes I even put some of the stuff from the beginning at the end, and I cut it in the middle somewhere, and then I put our sponsor read in, put music on the front and back, and then that's it.
That reminds me, I need to do November's book. Bum, bum, bum. When darkness falls, he doesn't catch it.
Ooh. You got time. You got like 2 weeks.
I do. So one thing that I meant to talk to you about via text, but you know what? Since we're just going on this and we've accepted the rambling, I'm in Mexico next weekend, so we need to do a double up, or we got to get a guest on, or you got to do a solo, or something along those lines.
Okay. Yeah. I know that I am out this weekend. Well, not this whole weekend, but I'm out on Saturday. So I won't be here all day on Saturday. I'll be here like probably later on Saturday. I don't know exactly what time, but my daughters are doing this day class thing, and
nice daughters doing day class things.
Yeah, so we're going to that all day on Saturday,
but we will record on Monday, which is my birthday, and I expect for you to do a special birthday episode for me. And I would like Joe to be there if possible. Okay. He's been avoiding me since he admitted defeat in ping pong. Fucking pansy.
You know what? You brought Joe up. You brought Joe up last week, and we didn't really get to Joe. We didn't really talk about Joe that much.
That's true.
So you'd said before we jumped into all the UFC talk that Joe had he'd countered to your argument that it was all over and done with.
Oh yeah, he was making up excuses. That's just what Joe does.
Yeah.
There's two things. Actually, I'll say there's three things Joe is really, really good at. At least out of the 10 plus years that I've known Joe. Has it been 10 years? It's been over 10 years since I've known you guys.
It's wild.
1, sleeping. 2, procrastinating. And 3, which kind of goes in with 2, making excuses. Joe, I beat your ass. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Boom!
It's true. He hopped on the group text, and I think Joe's a couple episodes behind, so he'll hear this in 2 weeks or whatever.
He's behind in a lot of things, especially ping pong skills.
But yeah, he was listening to the podcast and sort of responding to it while listening, and you're right. He's full of the excuses.
Yep. And I get it. He doesn't. Thousands of people are hearing that I've destroyed him mentally and physically and spiritually in ping pong, and that's embarrassing. And it's okay, Joe. a little practice, you might be able to start tying me when I use my left hand.
Maybe. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But he's gonna have to. This is the second Forrest Gump mention that I've made this podcast. I'm gonna see how many Forrest Gump mentions I can just make. It. I'm just gonna make as many Forrest Gump references as I can.
Sounds reasonable.
He's just gonna have to set up a ping pong table, throw it up halfway, and then just do that for 14 years, and then maybe he'll be able to step to your left hand.
Maybe. We'll see.
Speaking of my left hand, it's not really my left hand; it's my left shoulder. I got.
What'd you do?
Well, no, I'm not injured or anything. I got a flu shot today. Have you gotten a flu shot?
No, and I probably should, though I felt like I've started getting sick. Like my throat has been pretty sore. I'm obviously congested, but now I don't know if that's just blood. Or
you're bleeding
or
internally. Who knows?
I'm always bleeding.
There's just blood everywhere.
But I have been feeling off for a little while. Like I have been fighting something off. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking today, because I work in and around a hospital, mm-hmm. and there's lots of medical facilities around me that are advertising flu shots. And I was thinking to myself that I should get a flu shot. And then I got busy and lazy and procrastinated. And now I don't know. Anything. No, it is free. But now I don't. Now I don't know if it's worthwhile getting if I'm already starting to get sick.
Yeah. Well, that's I feel like it's worth it because the flu shots cover multiple different strains of the flu. That's true. So,
and I'm also playing that game. I'm playing that game where I should go and get the flu shot, but some people get sick from the flu shot. But I want to get it before I leave to Mexico because I don't want to get the flu in Mexico. But if I get the flu shot now, maybe I'll get sick and it will time out when I'm in Mexico.
I feel like you're overthinking this, but
that's pretty standard John activities. Let's take a minor detail, and let's mull it over for a good 15 hours straight, obsessively.
I would say, number one, I think that the idea that people get sick from the flu shot is largely incorrect.
False? You think?
I think I used to think that, but I feel like I just got not the flu, but I feel like I just happened to get like a cold or something directly after I got the, what I'm saying? Because it's that time of year, and your kids are getting back in school. You don't have kids, but my kids.
I was gonna say, what are you talking about, kids? I have kids.
You got dogs. The kids are all getting back in school, and they are little petri dishes. They bring home stuff, and you just catch whatever they catch. I feel like I've had a couple different things that have probably come out of a school since they've started this year. But I got my flu shot today because I didn't want to chance it. I was like, screw it. They were doing it at work. It was, free because I'm insured, whatever. So I was like, why not? So I went up to get it. And I'm not a needle person. Like, I don't like needles at all. I've become, it's easier to deal with them now as an adult. Like, I understand that it's going to pinch or whatever, but
yeah.
I felt like it was much more difficult to deal with that as a child because you didn't know how to deal with the emotions that were coursing through your body, But so it was more just hyping yourself up than anything when you're younger, I think. But it didn't. The actual shot didn't hurt at all. But now, like, I'm so sore. Like about right here is about how far I can lift it before it starts getting like uncomfortable or painful. So he got me good. Great bedside manner, though.
Right to the bone. That's how you know it's in there real good. You just keep going until the needle breaks off.
Well, and I asked him to give me the shot in the dick, but he wouldn't.
Well,
he wouldn't do it.
What a non-progressive doctor. What's the opposite? What a conservative doctor won't even do needles in the dick stem, because
Yeah.
we all know that's where the most blood is. That's the fastest way.
100%. And
Dick stem and butthole.
I wanted to make a pun off of flu, and I wanted to say like something about skin flute, you know, because now it's still about the dick, but now it has a double meaning because I've got little strains of dead flu in my genitals.
So I had to do, speaking of doctors, so I got a new family doctor. She's in my building.
Okay.
She's pretty young. I'm not going to lie. So I would like to start this conversation off by saying I wanted a new family doctor because I live in a different side of the city.
Okay.
And my old family doctor was a 40-minute drive from my house. So really inconvenient.
Sure.
And in the building where I work in, it's like the hospital professional building. There is a family doctor and stuff in there. And it said 2 doctors, now taking new patients. And I was like, okay, cool. So I call them and say, hey, this is my current family doctor. Here's where they are. I work in this building. I saw you guys are taking new patients. Can I sign up? And they're like, sure. Do you want this doctor or this doctor? And I was like, I don't care. Whoever can get me in right away. And they're like, great. You're now with, I won't say their name, but this doctor. And
right.
It's a pretty generic last name. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I go for my meet and greet. Turns out this doctor is young and a woman and extremely attractive.
Yeah.
And it kind of threw me off, which is weird because it shouldn't. And not that I don't think she's a good doctor. She's actually probably one of the best doctors I've had.
Right.
But I had this moment where I had to question, like, am I comfortable sharing things about my body with you?
Yeah.
And then she, wanted to schedule a physical. And I was thinking about,
they're like, whoa, lady, don't you see the ring?
A physical? Like, are you going to do the old, like, ball roll and cough thing? And you're going to show a finger at my butt? And you're attractive and this is oddly, like, sexual? And I don't want to make this uncomfortable because you're kind of cool. She avoided those parts of the physical because she's like, you're young enough, I'm pretty sure you're okay. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had this. So now I have this weird thing with my doctor where I'm intimidated by her brains and her attractiveness, and then I'm also becoming a little bit crazy of like, well, I don't want to go see her for lots of things because now she might think that I'm just making up excuses to go see her. Like I said, overthinking things. This is where I'm at. Tore my MCL. I'm like, man, I really need to see my doctor, but I don't want to go there. She's going to think I'm just making up excuses to see her.
Well, that's why you only go for valid reasons.
Yeah, torn MCL is a valid reason to go to the doctor.
100%.
But no, she's pretty cool. And she's pretty progressive, which I appreciate. So I'm fairly confident if I asked for her for the flu shot, she'd give it to me in the dick stem.
That's where we were going with the whole story. Okay, I got it. I was going to say...
Did you know that dick piercings, you have to be somewhat erect? I think we talked about that with Lacey.
Wait, did we talk? I know we talked about dick piercings, but I didn't know if it was that you had to be erect.
Yeah, that just freaks me out, the fact that, you have to be somewhat erect.
Jesus Christ. I mean,
yeah. How do you do that? How do you...
You got to be a masochist.
I mean, we all are in our own ways, right? Or is that just me?
I mean, I don't know. You're currently hanging yourself upside down by your ball sack. I've wanted to say something the entire time, but I thought it wouldn't make sense in the context of the podcast. But now that you've brought up masochism, I feel like we can talk about the hooks through your scrotum.
I needed some good scrotum clamping videos to send you.
You haven't. Okay. We're jumping around a lot, but you haven't sent any, and it's sort of disappointing. You haven't sent anything to the group chat in a while. You're disappointed?
Well, truthfully, my porn consumption has gone down significantly as of late. got married. Heyo.
Yeah, man.
That's right. I waited till marriage.
Sure. Sure you did.
Yeah. I'm a good boy.
You know what? Everybody who listens to podcast, even if they don't know you, they know that that is a flat out lie. You have a dick table that's been circulating for years, dude. For years you had a dick table. You can't have a dick table and also be a virgin.
Well, isn't the definition of a virgin of having not been penetrated by the male penis? I don't know why I had to say the male penis. I guess if you have a penis.
Yeah, what, like the female penis? What is that? Just an enlarged clitoris?
A really long clit?
No, so I don't think it's only females that can be virgins, if that's what you're asking.
Oh, well, I don't know. This is too scientific for me.
I mean, I've never heard that been an argument before that there can only be one sex that can be a virgin. Sure they can have sure females have a hymen and all that stuff that breaks, but that could also break from horse riding or other drastic injuries.
Horse riding.
Other riding horse dicks is what I mean. They're into weird shit, some of those. But
you're right. It just says a person who has never had sexual intercourse. But anal doesn't count.
Yeah, butt play doesn't count, dude.
Duh.
Here's a question.
Ooh, I love questions. Ask away.
If a female...
Is it weird to say female? I had this conversation with Al, and I said female about something, and she said that was weird. Or somewhat disrespectful instead of saying woman.
Well, and I'm not meaning to be disrespectful, but it's just like...
Well, that's how I felt. That obviously wasn't saying, come here, you stupid female. No, I was just saying...
It's scientific, too. Like,
which I also thought was weird because she's an engineer and very scientific. So I was really perplexed saying... I didn't say girl. So, see, to me, saying girl is
right
a little bit more degrading than...
Yeah.
But now I've become super conscious about it. Because I say male and female all the time, but maybe I should be saying man and woman.
Dude, I don't know. I don't even know what... Today, you know what? That's funny you said that, because today at work they were doing this first floor get-together party thing because somebody was soon going to be getting married. Mm-hmm. So they threw like this surprise thing or whatever, and they bust out a karaoke machine. All right, so they were like, "All right, we're gonna do guys versus girls," and then the partner who was talking about it was like, "Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't say girls. It seems like a little too amateur." And so I was like sitting at my computer, and so I was like females, and then I heard somebody say, "Don't say females."
Yeah. What?
It's so confusing. And I'm not saying it in like a derogatory fashion. It's just like I speak in a context of being a male so often.
Yeah.
That
I don't know, man. It's weird. It's a weird world, and I just want to be respectful, but sometimes it's just I don't know.
Well, sometimes
and maybe that makes me sound like an asshole, and maybe we're going to get a lot of hate mail, or people are going to stop listening to us because we're two mumbling idiots about sex in modern society. But I just feel like if some person, I'll say person, calls me a boy, boys versus girls, I'm not getting upset about it. And I get that there's maybe some biasness to that or whatever. I don't know. I like to think that I'm a pretty big supporter of women's rights in general.
Right.
But I just think that some people take things a little too far. Like, don't say female. Well, aren't we males and female? Like the female sex, the male sex? I don't know. What's right?
Right. I think a lot of people are quick to jump on what somebody says without understanding the person and like what they think and who they are, and seeing, oh, well, you know, obviously they weren't meaning it in this way. People are quick about judging like that. All right, guys, let's take a second to talk about our sponsor, Audible. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled and get your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. Guys, the book that I'm going to recommend for this month is Dad is Fat by Jim Gaffigan. I can relate to the title of this book on a spiritual level because I love ice cream. And I'm a dad. So there you go. Basically, this book just talks about living with 5 children. He and his wife just surviving with 5 children. And that's basically all you're doing when you have 5 kids is you're surviving. And God bless his wife because when he's touring, it's got to be hell on earth. So, just give it a listen, guys. It's Jim Gaffigan. Everybody knows Jim Gaffigan. He's got his own comedic take that he's going to put on this. Just trust me, you're going to love it. So pick that one up. If you don't want to listen to Jim Gaffigan, they got 180,000 other audiobooks that you can choose from. So you're going to find something that you like. Head over, give them a look. Give them just a full look over. You got 30 days. You get to keep your audiobook after the 30 days are up. And yeah, it's an open and closed case, guys. So head over, give it a listen, and that's it. We're going to get back to the podcast. audibletrial.com/jumbled. Again, that's audibletrial.com/jumbled. Hey, Johnny, you got something else to say?
This is a really point. So, do you remember the whole Roseanne Barr situation?
Yeah, when she
allegedly tweeted something racist, and I'm going to say allegedly in air quotes, and here's why. So she finally was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and if you haven't listened to it, I highly suggest everyone listens to it because it kind of talks about things from her perspective, and what happened. And was the tweet questionable? Without a doubt. Was it distasteful? Absolutely. Especially when you just look at it from the context of that tweet, the 100 and some characters or whatever it was.
Sure.
But Joe Rogan was very adamant to jump to her defense and say, 1, she was on Ambien, 2, she has mental health issues, 3, it's 140 characters out of this person's life that's taken out of context. So he had her on the podcast, and she kind of explained things from her perspective, which was really interesting. I was really torn between feeling bad for her and hating her. So I'm very neutral on the Roseanne Barr situation, but I can empathize with her point of view. But essentially, she was saying that it wasn't a racially motivated thing. She was talking about the Iran deal, and that there was some like Southern cultural thing and like a bunch of shit, and that people didn't actually look at what the message that she was trying to say. They just jumped of, oh, this is an opportunity to say Roseanne's racist, so we're going to go all over it. Again, I'm not taking a side. I don't think she should have wrote the tweet, period. I think the fallout of what happened was maybe a little bit ridiculous, but once you get that racist label, no one wants to associate with you. But anyways, I felt really perplexed on, like, part of me felt bad for her for what happened in this tweet and her perspective of that this got taken out of context and this huge thing. The other hand of me, part of me felt really bad for her because I think she's actually batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't think that she knows what she says all the time. And she was talking about being institutionalized like a couple times when she was a kid and some like fucked up shit that happened to her as a kid. So I'm like, oh my God, like I feel bad for you for this. And clearly this explains your mental health issues and why you're on Ambien. And Ambien's been proven to be a little bit of a psychotic inducing drug. So like there's so many factors into this, but no one really looked at the big picture and just focused on this tweet, these couple sentences, which were fucked up. I'm saying 100% she should not have written that, no matter what the context was. I just think our general society reaction to it, that's I think what bothers me, is that there wasn't due process. It was, let's look at this tiny tweet of, you know, billions of words that this person has spoken and all of her actions and judge her based on this moment where she was on a drug that is known to cause loopiness. So that was the part I think that I felt bad for more, that we didn't do our due diligence as a society before just jumping down her throat and eviscerating her life. Because let's be honest, everyone in this world has said or done something that deep down inside they regret or are not proud of or is questionable.
Sure, but I think the difference between us doing something like that and Roseanne doing something like that is obviously she's got a lot more eyes on her. So you have to practice a lot of self-control, especially when it comes to stuff like social media, where you're leaving a footprint regardless what you do, no matter how long your tweet was up. People are screenshotting it. People, like, you have to be a lot more cautious about it, and it's just part of the deal. I
agree 100%. I just don't like outrage natured society, which is what we've gotten to, is that everyone's looking for something to be pissed off about and to be a social justice warrior about, and that's great, and I think there's a lot of good causes that get support from that, but I also think there's a lot of people that are just, they're miserable inside and they're trying to find a way to make someone else's life miserable in the hopes that will provide a little bit of happiness of some weird fucked up way in their life. Yeah. I just think there's definitely hills as a society we should die on, and I think there's a lot that we should learn to let go and focus on the more important issues at hand.
Right. Yeah, I can agree with that. There are definitely a lot of, well, and you, like you said, you only see so much. Yeah. Right. It's like everybody's heard the iceberg metaphor. You only see the tip of the iceberg, and then there's so much going on underneath the surface that you don't even see. So I can agree with that, and I definitely know there's, for a lot of people, and who knows, for stuff like Kanye West and people we've been talking about, like, might have legitimate mental issues that need to be addressed.
And that's kind of the irony that I took, is that there's this huge push for mental health, which I 100% support for a lot of reasons, personal reasons. And we're trying to say, and drug addiction, for example. I truly believe that drug addiction is a mental health problem and not a criminal problem.
Sure, because you can be addicted to anything, right? And even when you break one addiction, you can get another addiction. It's just part of having an addictive personality and all that stuff.
But we're saying, well, we can't judge this. I know it sounds pretty derogatory. This meth head for their habits or their actions because they're dealing with this mental illness, which is addiction. And on one hand, I'm like, okay, I get that. On the other hand, well, some of it's self-inflicted, and you need to learn how to make better decisions. But it's just, we're picking and choosing where mental health can be used as not an excuse, but a justifier for an action, or an explanation, not a justifier. Say an explanation for an action. But we're cherry picking what those can and can't be. So here we have someone who, if is true, has been institutionalized numerous times, is on a bunch of different medication for depression and anxiety and sleep issues. She's sleep deprived. She's 66 years old or something. So could be some other underlying, brain deterioration issues. Who's on this crazy busy schedule and tweets something while under the influence of a combination of drugs and alcohol. And we're saying, oh, this is who she is as a person, but we're saying, oh, that heroin addict down the hall, that's not who they are as a person. They're dealing with mental health, which is true, but why one and not the other? Or
Right. I think another thing to consider is, with your point, is we sometimes don't know what we're looking for either, and we don't know. We're all laymen, right? We're not all professionals in the medical field or in working with the brain. So we don't know all of the qualities that somebody with a mental illness might have. So we are judging based on face value, and unfortunately that's one of the downsides with social media is, we can only judge based on what we see, and if we don't know how to perceive what we're seeing as being a separate issue, then I think a lot of people are going to be quick to jump to another ulterior motive or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thinking behind it, and I totally hear what you're saying, and I agree with it. I'm playing devil's advocate. It's
yeah, and I'm okay with that, and I think that's good. I want that. I'm not saying what I'm saying is be all end all is right. I'm just pointing out, I think, the errors in how we're evaluating these situations and the lack of consistency is all. I'm not saying what she said is right. I'm saying what definitely wasn't right was how it was handled and the decisions that were made following up to it, I guess, is all.
Yeah, in retrospect, you would have liked to have seen the people who are closest to her sort of make sure that she's okay.
Yeah, and to give her a chance to explain. I think that was the part that bugged me most, was that the network dropped her immediately and everyone had this outrage. And she woke up and was like, yo, I wanted to talk about the Iran deal and how this was related to Iran deal, not that I was calling you a monkey. To a woman who is African American, but it is not I don't know, is apparently, allegedly, I think they were saying like 1/8 or 1/16 African American, so very, very light skinned African American. So sure. And who Roseanne said, I didn't even know who she was, like what she looked like. I was just making a general statement. Poor choice in words. Again, poor choice in words. A lot of contributing factors. I think, I don't know, society, we like to complain too much, and I think we need to grow some tougher skin and focus. And again, not that this isn't a problem. I just think one crazy person's tweet, I wish we'd put as much energy into what we did into as a society into like eviscerating Roseanne as we do to solving some other more pressing problems, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Is it a problem? Yes. Should we address it? Yes. But is it where we should focus the bulk of our attention? I don't think so. I think there's bigger fish to fry in improving equality for all people.
Sure. It's not like Roseanne's burning crosses in her front yard. You know what I'm saying? Like she's...
Yeah. The KKK still exists. Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah. You want to look at some racism you can find it,
God damn it, America. What happened to your country?
Dude, everything's going downhill. I've talked about it before, but it's the separation of the left and the right. Both sides are getting more extreme, so they're pushing further and further away from each other. And so there's no common ground anymore. Literally none. So nobody can decide. Nobody can say, hey, this is something that I can agree with and you can agree with, because there's just that little gap in between both parties now.
Yep.
Where there's no viable opponent that can draw all of the voters in. So that's what's happened. And also, I don't know. It's a lot. There's a lot that's going on. I don't know, man. It's a mess. We got a little crazy on that.
Yeah, I'm sorry I went on a rampage there.
It's okay. Jonny, do you do anything fun for Halloween? Halloween's coming up soon.
We have had Halloween parties at our house before. Allie likes to dress up, and last year, what did we do? Oh, last year we were gonna have a Halloween party, but we got Winnie, our puppy, so we decided to not have a bunch of people dressed up in costumes around our 8-week-old puppy.
Sure.
The year before that, we had a Halloween party, and we actually had a family costume, where Allie and I dressed up as the characters from Jurassic Park, and then we got Gus in a Triceratops Halloween costume. It was pretty good, if I say so myself.
It's awesome.
This year we're going to be in Mexico for Mike, our former fact checker's wedding.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming we're going to do something, but I'm not dressing up. I'm not bringing shit to Mexico. My goal for Mexico, which is going to be really, really hard to do, is I want to read 2 books and I want to relax. And that it's going to be tough to do that, but I'm going to try and make it work.
Yeah. So you said you're leaving out on the 29th?
27th, and I've come back the 4th, and then we could probably record that night, and then I'm going hunting for the rest of the week after. So it's a pretty crazy couple weeks for me. Okay.
Yeah, no worries. We'll figure something out. And then you said next week is your B-Day?
Monday the 22nd.
Monday the 22nd. So we'll have to plan something for for the 22nd. Then get Joe, wrangle him up, and see if we can get him on the podcast. But
ooh, yeah,
yeah. For Halloween, I don't do anything.
No? Do you give out candy? Do you guys get a lot of kids? Because that was one thing that really, really disappointed me. When we bought our house in Winnipeg, we bought so much candy and no kids showed up. And then my fat ass just ate it all.
We're all out. So we just turn our porch light off, and that's sort of like the universal sign for, hey, we're not home. So I remember when I was a kid, the streets would be littered with people, and it was 100%. So much fun. And I would get pillowcases and pillowcases worth of candy, and you wouldn't eat it all, and
I would eat it all. Fucking right, I'd eat it all. Okay. But there was definitely a hierarchy of candy, right? Like.
Right.
You'd crush your favorite things first and then slowly whittle down to you have that stupid, gross little candy corn thing. But I'd still eat it because, it was candy.
All the candy corn was manufactured at the same time. It just gets passed around.
Yeah, exactly. Re-Halloweening candy corn for 25 years. I don't know. It makes me sad because I kind of like seeing kids' outfits, and I think it's kind of cute. I did see this thing in preparation for Halloween that was like something along the lines: if a teenager comes and trick-or-treating, don't give them shit because they could be doing a lot of other worse things on Halloween. And I was like, yeah, I guess I kind of get that. And I'm pretty chill if like a 14 or 15-year-old comes and they're somewhat dressed up. I'm like, you know what, you're getting into it, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah, honestly, if I were staying home and just manning the door, and an adult came up to my door,
dressed
rang my
up,
doorbell, and said, dressed up, said trick or treat, I'm like, dude, here's a Snickers.
Yeah, enjoy, buddy.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you. Never give up that dream. Santa Claus is fake.
Whoa, spoiler, dude! I'm gonna have to put a spoiler alert in front of that, just for that little portion there.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, but I can appreciate people that put some work into Halloween costumes, but I just don't. Excuse me. Sorry. I just don't like all of the preparation that goes into it. It seems like, I don't know. It's one thing if it's like I'm going to a party, but like I don't want to dress up, just walk around a neighborhood.
You don't want to be a sexy cat or a sexy police officer or a sexy nurse or a sexy pirate or a sexy shoe or
what's up with that? Why is everything sexy?
Well, I don't know. So there's a lot of comedians that have a bit around this, that Halloween is just like slut season and that you have an excuse to dress.
Do you pull your tits out pretty much?
Well, it works both ways because guys are just as bad for it. I'm a sexy police officer. Yeah, you're not wearing a shirt and you have a belt on. Congratulations, dude. But yeah, I don't know. It's just an excuse to be half naked in public, and it's okay because it's Halloween. I like scary costumes, not even scary, but creative or something artistic that people put a lot of thought into. I'm into that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see this half naked kitty cat. Like, that's not cool to me. That's not a Halloween costume, and that's not original, clearly.
Right. They bought that at Walmart or Target or something, but
unless your tail is an actual furry tail, like the butthole furry is what I'm talking about. You've never heard of that? That's a thing. You've never heard of that?
What do you mean butthole furry?
It's a little butt plug that you put into your butt, and the back of it is a tail. Because that's apparently a fetish. You've never heard of that? Yeah, that's a fetish thing, man. Which is like walking the line of bestiality, but I think part of it is like the anime and hentai world is now becoming real life world. So people fantasize and fetishize anime characters that are part person, part animal, and now they're making their, significant other, male or female, wear these furry tails. It's a butt plug that has a tail attached to it.
But see, that's what I don't understand, is because a tail is an extension of the spine, and last I checked, your spine doesn't pop out of your asshole.
Well, your spine, your tailbone is right above your butthole, so it makes some sense. But it's an easy way to insert it and it to stay, and you can wag it by twerking like I'm doing right now. Twerky, 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 twerky. You've never heard of this thing? Oh man, I know what I'm looking up tonight, and I'm sending you some
Johnny,
fucking furry porn.
There is so much. There's so much that I don't know, Johnny.
You really haven't.
Don't want to know. I have no
really
desire.
Haven't scratched the surface of porn. You need to dig a little deeper into X and XX than just the first 6 videos on the homepage.
I don't know, dude. I'm sort of like I do some window shopping, and then every once in a while I'll go in and I'll just try on something. But I'm not gonna like. I approach porn the same way I approach actual shopping, where I know what I'm looking for. I know what gets the job done.
You are the most
I'm
Midwest
going for that
family man ever,
dude. Screw it, man.
Mish life.
I just watch porn of like just middle-aged people doing it missionary style.
Just average people just.
Yeah, no good angles, like maybe a single lamp on in the background.
They're really backlit, so you can't see them that well.
Really bad video quality, really grainy. It looks like it was shot with like an iPhone 3G or something like that. Yeah, like that's what I like. That's the kind of porn I like watching, dude.
Well, I'm about to blow your mind, buddy.
Do you watch a lot of high quality stuff? Does that pull on your chain, or do you really just like the obscure stuff?
I mean, I feel like porn is one of those slippery slopes that you slowly become desensitized, and then you start going to more and more extreme things to find some excitement, and that's how a porn addiction starts. What? But I don't know. I mean, I'm a generalist, but I have some. Everyone's got their thing that they kind of search out occasionally.
Yeah. Do you like surprising yourself with something new and different?
Ooh, like porn roulette. You just close your eyes and swipe around and pick that video, and man, if it's guy on guy, you just got to go with it.
You got to find a way.
A bleached butthole is a bleached butthole. Okay.
Unless there's something hanging below it, dude.
Well, you just mentally block that out. I did read an article that was talking some science behind porn and male ejaculation, that apparently men ejaculate or report ejaculating more and having a more intense orgasm when there's another man in the video. You
know what? I'm not going to lie to you. I prefer to watch porn with another dude in it, and it's not because I want to see the dick. It's because
that's okay, Zach.
It's because I put myself into
it's role play,
into a mindset. Yeah, where I am in that position or something.
It's the beginning of AR.
Yeah, because if you showed me a list of dude porn stars' faces, I think there might only be a couple that I'd be able to pull out.
I don't know, but I know what all their dicks look like. Oh,
do you have like a list and you're like, all right, I gotta watch only videos with this guy in it because this guy has the most Johnny looking penis?
No, but sometimes I go through phases around women porn stars where I'm like, let's see, I want to look at your life's work, your art, and I want to learn who you are as a person, and your acting ability. Sometimes I focus in on specific porn stars.
Yeah, there are certain guys that I started out watching, and then I've gradually migrated more towards Ron Jeremy, and I think it's because I've gained weight. I think it's because I've gained weight. And I think
but you're not balding, so
well. But I gotta like put myself into a similar position, And there's
you're not Ron Jeremy fat though.
I'm not Ron Jeremy fat, but there's no like just regular old pudgy
average
dudes.
Joe.
Like there's either
dad
ripped,
porn.
There's either ripped or there's Ron Jeremy.
Grotesquely fat.
And so I'm not ripped, so I got to go full Ron Jeremy. So I've actually been like shoving down. Hold on, actually,
you're eating some more Reuben sandwiches.
Got some nearly expired Girl Scout cookies that I didn't sell from last year that have just been sitting. They actually hold up really well.
Why would you do that to me when you know I'm eating clean. Got
Here.
it in mint ones? You need the mint ones. The mint Girl Guide cookies are to die for.
I don't know if you've ever had one of these.
You know those are closely expired because the chocolate has that white film on it.
It doesn't taste like chocolate so much at the first bite. But then you get it. It's the s'mores ones. Have you had the s'mores ones before?
Ew, no, gross. But on that note, let's wrap this up because I want to go eat my oranges. That's my dessert.
That's not a dessert.
I might spice it up a little bit and throw a grapefruit in there.
That's not dessert, dude.
It's sweet. It has sugars and carbs.
It's true. Dessert. It does. Keep living your lie. Hey guys, you can find us on social media at Jumbled Podcast. You want to send us an email, that would be jumbledpodcast@gmail.com or johnny.jumbled@gmail.com. If you want to listen to us anywhere else besides where you're listening, we're everywhere else. Johnny is showing me his blood splattered
Kleenexes.
Yep, that he's literally cleaning his nose the entire podcast. We stopped talking about it the first 10 minutes, and then the entire time he was doing it. It's good now. It's not bleeding anymore. That's good. But if you want to listen to us anywhere else besides for SoundCloud, do it. Spotify, Stitcher, Player.fm. Everybody who's listening right now should go over to iTunes and leave us a rating and review. That would be great. And if you want to be a patron to the podcast, head over to patreon.com/jumbled and get us an address. Also, thanks to our sponsor Audible, head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled and get your free 30-day trial and free audiobook. Johnny will have in a couple weeks the rundown on his book of the month for November,
which is the highest rated audiobook on Audible.
Did you just pull that fact out of your ass, or is that true?
That is true. Just like 80% of stats are made up. But that one is actually true.
Okay. I believe both those are actually true. Statistics, who can believe them, right? I think that's it, guys. So if you would be so kind as to join us back next week for another episode of Jumbled, that'd be great. But until then, thank you for listening to another episode of Jumbled, your favorite podcast.
About Zach's porn addiction.
Zach's porn addiction. It's a lot of missionary.
Oh, Mish.
Oh, Mish. We'll see you guys.
One pump every 5 seconds.
Yeah. Bye.